Something has happened behind the scenes at the franchise that could completely change the plans for this season. A strategic decision has directly impacted the salary cap space, freeing up a significant amount of money, and now two equally intriguing possibilities arise. Keep this reserved to ensure future stability or risk it all on a bold move that could transform the team's course. But what is really behind this financial move? And what does it reveal about the secret plans for the rest of the year? Be sure to click the like button and come with me as I tell you all about it. The Minnesota Vikings just unlocked a hidden financial lever that could dramatically reshape how this team approaches the rest of the offseason, and more intriguingly, what could be lurking at the NFL trade deadline. As of June 1st, a significant post-June 1 cut has now become official. Garrett Bradbury's release has yielded a cap savings of $5.25 million, bringing the team's total available cap space to around $19 million. But this isn't just a bookkeeping footnote. This cap relief opens the door to a cascade of possibilities, and Vikings fans should be paying attention to what this might signal. The surprising part? The dead money deferred to 2026 from the Bradbury move is minimal, just $1.628 million. So this isn't the kind of kick-the-can accounting move that mortgages the future. The team's immediate cap number for Bradbury drops from $6 million to $814,000. That's a sharp cut. This is relevant not just in abstract numbers but in strategic flexibility. Whether it's rolling money into next year or keeping cash ready for a high-impact trade mid-season, the implications are wide-reaching. Of course, Vikings GM adofo-mensah, freshly extended to a new multi-year deal, is no stranger to playing the long game while still striking boldly when windows crack open. Think back to the TJ Hockenson trade. No one saw it coming. It wasn't forecasted. It wasn't predicted. It just happened, and it worked. Now with $19 million in their pocket, this front office has more room than ever to execute another chess move. Here's what makes this moment even more pivotal. Minnesota's 2026 cap situation is a looming thundercloud. According to Over the Cap, the Vikings currently sit third worst in projected cap health for that year. But another report from Spotrac paints an even grimmer picture, putting Minnesota dead last, staring down a $52.55 million deficit. So, while some fans may hope that the team burns that $19 million now on a splashy move, the logic within the front office might be leaning toward fiscal caution. Think rollover. Think depth. Think restructuring the long-term financial spine of this roster. Still, the what-if scenarios are tantalizing. What if the Vikings start 4-1? Or 5-0? Suddenly, this year looks a lot more like a Super Bowl window than a transition phase. If that happens, Kwesi may decide to cash in that flexibility for an impact piece. A name like Jalen Ramsey has already emerged, a massive contract, no doubt, but the kind of player who changes the temperature in a locker room. While the Dolphins would have to absorb part of his salary for the Vikings to make it work, the front office at least has the capital now to explore such deals seriously. And don't forget, the early schedule favors Minnesota. Week 1, on the road against the Bears? Winnable. Week 2, hosting the Falcons on Sunday Night Football? The Vikings will likely be favorites. Week 3 against the Bengals may be a shootout, but if the Vikings go 2-1 or even 3-0, pressure builds to compete now, not next season. 2 overseas games round out the first 5, and there's legitimate reason to believe the team could be sitting at 4-1 before the trade deadline looms. What about potential signings instead of trades? Don't hold your breath. Names like Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper don't make much sense given Minnesota's current needs. The same goes for Von Miller. But there are whispers around defensive backs, Stephon Gilmore, Marcus Williams, or even Justin Simmons, as potential one-year additions if the team needs to shore up its secondary midseason. Don't expect a splash before week 1, but leave the door ajar if things heat up later. Then there's Kwesi adofo-mensah's extension. This news broke Friday and deserves scrutiny beyond the surface-level applause. On one hand, he's been part of 2 double-digit win seasons. He helped orchestrate a shockingly productive free agency haul that brought in names like Aaron Jones and Andrew Van Ginkel, veterans who've already made their presence felt. The roster building has been agile, savvy, and aggressive. But here's the other side of the coin. His draft classes, by and large, have not lived up to expectations. The 2022 class? Almost entirely a wash. Louis Cine is now on the Eagles practice squad. Andrew Booth Jr. looks like he'll be out of the league. Ed Ingram and Brian Asamoah haven't progressed past depth roles. Jalen Naylor stands out as the lone bright spot, and even that's from a 6th-round pick. The 2023 and 2024 drafts offer slightly more optimism. Jordan Addison was a home run pick at receiver. The team is also betting big on J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner, 2 names who carry immense upside. But so far, that's all it is, potential. The weight on those players' shoulders is massive. This isn't just about individual development. It's about the very future of the franchise. Because once the financial leash tightens in 2026, Minnesota's ability to reload via free agency will evaporate. If those draft picks flop, the roster thins. The depth cracks. The championship window slams shut. And that's the gamble Kwesi is taking. His 2024 and 2025 draft classes need to hit. Donovan Jackson must develop into a starting caliber guard. Ty Felton has to be a reliable WR3 option. Terrion Dawkins is a sleeper, sure, but he has to wake up fast. Even Gavin Bartholomew, projected as a potential TE2, may be called on to play significant snaps if injuries strike. So as fans, what should we make of all this? A GM with a sharp mind and bold instincts, but a murky draft record. A team with a short-term opportunity, but a long-term capstone on the horizon. And a roster that could be a few lucky breaks away from contending, or a few misses away from mediocrity. Now it's your turn. If you were in Kwesi's seat right now, would you go all in with that cap space and trade for a difference maker like Jalen Ramsey? Or would you play it safe, roll the money forward, and hope the young core develops in time? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And let's not forget, this Kwesi extension isn't just about a GM keeping his job. It's a message. Ownership is signaling trust in a vision that hinges less on blockbuster names and more on internal development. But trust without results can fade fast. If McCarthy doesn't look like a franchise quarterback by mid-2025, or if Dallas Turner fails to become a game-changing presence on defense, fans will question why this extension happened before real proof surfaced. The window is narrow. The margin for error is slimmer than ever. Minnesota may have the star power to compete, Jefferson, Hunter, Addison, but championships are built on what lies beneath. The next wave of contributors has to step up, or this roster could unravel in 2 years under the weight of missed picks and bloated cap hits. Still, for now, optimism remains. This team could start fast. It could buy itself a seat at the contenders' table. It could make one more splash with that $19 million cushion. But everything hinges on timing, execution, and draft hits finally paying dividends. So Vikings fans, it's time to speak up. Do you support the direction this franchise is heading? Was extending Kwesi the right call? Drop a like if you're still believing. Comment below with your thoughts on the extension, the cap strategy, and what you would do with $19 million to spend. And if you're not already part of the community, hit that subscribe button now, because we'll be here breaking it all down every step of the way. SKOL Vikings.